Hello, my grandma passed away in April of 2006, 2 days before her 90th birthday. She had always told us that she wanted to be sealed to her husband. She had just never had the opportunity to go to the temple herself while she was alive. I knew I needed to wait 1 year to get this work done for her. However, I didn't have a valid temple recommend, so a couple years passed. I began having dreams about my grandma where she would talk to me, ask me when I was going to do the work for her. And again, I didn't have a valid temple recommend, so I just waited. Eventually, my mom's cousin called her and asked if anyone was going to do Aunt Thelma's work. This gave me the motivation that I needed to go to the temple to do the work for my grandma. When I was in the sealing room for her, I could feel her there with me. I knew my grandpa was there, and I felt wonderful doing something for them that they couldn't do for themselves. And my niece describes the feeling when she did baptisms for the dead as feeling light, like she could float away. This is how I felt doing something for my grandparents that they couldn't do themselves. When I die, I'll have a reunion with my ancestors, and I imagine it going one of two ways. The first way is that they'll come to me with disappointment in their eyes, and they'll look at me asking me why I didn't do more to help them when I could, and because they're now stuck in their eternal progression. The second is that they'll come up to me, hug me gratefully, thanking me for helping them so that they are now able to be sealed to their families for eternity. Joseph Smith declared the greatest responsibility in this world that God has laid upon us is to seek after our dead. Searching for people, not names, is the key. We're not just looking for names, we're looking for people that lived. They have stories, they have families. We're preserving their information, doing something for them that they can't do for themselves, but we're also preserving their memories. We can upload photos and stories to familysearch.org, which will give them information or give that information to others who may not know it. Carol Brennan Moss shared with us in the June 2014 Ensign. Today, we can search over 3.5 billion records in databases containing actual images of records, add sources to individuals in our family trees, and directly process temple work on familysearch.org. This was 3 years ago. How many more billion records are available to us now? President Ezra Taft Benson has taught the family is the most effective place to instill lasting values in its members. This was from the November 1982 Ensign. Some of the most important efforts towards fulfilling the mission of the church will be those of parents who teach their children the doctrines and practice of the church by precept and example. Young parents who are fulfilling that responsibility ought not to feel guilty if they are not submitting as many group sheets or attending the temple as frequently as their parents who are retired. We don't have to be experts to do this work. We just have to try. You can't become an expert without first being a novice. There are so many resources available to us. There's a family history religion course available through BYU Idaho. This course teaches us how to use a lot of websites. If you don't want to take the course, you can get help at a local family history library. And all of the websites have videos telling us how to use them. There's familysearch.org, ancestry.com, myheritage.com, findmypast.com. There are so many websites available to us, not just through church, but through everywhere, because family history work is so important. On familysearch.org, you can do a pedigree chart or you can do a fan chart to see your ancestors. I like the fan chart because it gives a different view. It doesn't give as much detail on each person, but it does still show the person. This is my mom's fan chart. She's got a gap here. She's got a small gap here. But overall, she doesn't have many gaps in her history. This is my fan chart. My mom's side is very well filled in. My dad's side is not so much. Having these fan charts is a reminder to me that I need to continue working on my dad's history. I can't give up. I need to find those people so their work can be done. President Thomas S. Monson told us, "The Lord expects you and me to perform our family history work well. We are going to make mistakes, but none of us can become an expert in family history work without first being a novice. Therefore, we must plunge into this work, and we must prepare for some uphill climbing. This is not an easy task, but the Lord has placed it upon you, and He has placed it upon me. We will make mistakes, but it is important to do the best we can." Which reunion would you prefer? The one where your ancestor looks at you with disappointment, or the one where they hug you gratefully? President Boyd K. Packer stated in the October 2010 Ensign, "No work is more of a protection to this church than temple work and the family history research that supports it. No work is more spiritually refining. No work we do gives us more power." I challenge each of you to find something that you can do to help family history work progress. You can search on familysearch.org or any of the other websites to find people who need their work done. You can go to the temple and do the work for people. If a lot of your family history work is already done and you don't have names of people to take through the temple always has names on file that you can do the work for those other people and bless them. You can babysit for a friend or a neighbor so that they can go to the temple. You can collect stories or pictures, upload those to familysearch.org. You can volunteer in the temple to help others. There are so many things that can be done to help family history work progress. And I also challenge each of you to play on familysearch.org. Become familiar with the website, know what it does. You can help other people. You, you can use it as a missionary tool. There is also a relative finder that has been created by BYU, or a student at BYU, I should say. And with this relative finder, you can see, are you related to Abraham Lincoln? Are you related to somebody in your ward? Maybe your second cousin's 5 generations ago. This information can always help you. And again, you can always help others. There is something that every one of us can do. And I challenge each of you to find that thing that you can do to help temple and family history work progress. If we each do what we're capable of, our ancestors will greet us with gratitude and not disappointment. Thank you.